Afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to school after the May half term. I hope you had a brilliant half term break and you've come back to school rested and ready for the final 6 weeks of the summer term. It's also been a year since I took over as head teacher at the school as well, and what a year it has been with COVID, but with all of the changes and improvements that we have and continue to make to our school here at King Henry. I'm going to share my screen with you today, and we're going to start as usual with a couple of slides that I want you to look at. And the first slide, there's a picture, and you can see there are two plants on this picture, one on the left hand side that's looking pretty healthy, lush and green, and one on the right hand side that's looking pretty sad and sorry for itself. And the questions that I've just placed on the slide are below. What is the difference between the two plants? What could have happened to the plant on the right hand side? And what is the message potentially behind the picture as we come back into school for this new half term? Well, I'll come back to those in a moment or so. But let's begin today by talking again just about this concept of re-establishing, because you will know from my assemblies before half term, but also the survey that we did with students, staff and families, that since lockdown ended back in March, we focused on reconnecting with students. We focused on students' mental health, on well-being, on making sure people return to school in a positive way. But from the May half term until July, we were really clear that it was going to be about re-establishing some of the conditions that we need in the school for all students to thrive. And then from next year, we'll have a strategy to restore particularly some of that lost learning and the lost opportunities because of COVID-19 in the last year or so. And as we go through this re-establishing, we have focused on a number of particular areas, and these won't be a surprise because we went through these with you before the half term. But you would have seen it on the gate this morning already. We are really focusing on uniform. Why are we focusing on uniform? We're focusing on uniform because uniform is something that makes us equal. Everyone has the same obligation when it comes to uniform. Everyone is treated in a fair way. Everyone is equal. In schools where there's no uniform, you get a disparity between people with lots of money who wear fashionable designer gear and people that can't. It's unfair. Uniform gives it a level playing field at school, and it also helps us to know which house you're in and which year group you're in as well. Mobile phones and headphones, as you know from before half term, we have banned these from the school site. For students who want these items on the way to or from school, then you can hand them into student reception where they'll be kept in a safe. For anyone who is seen with a mobile phone or a headphone, these will be confiscated and also placed in that safe in student reception. And you collect them at the end of the day from student reception as you leave the school site. Just to be really clear, if you walk through the gates and you're holding your mobile phone in your hand, that would be confiscated. If you walk through the gates in the morning and you've got a headphone in, that would be confiscated. There may be students who are taking the risk by having the phone off and at the bottom of your bags. We're not going to search every bag, but it's a risk. If that phone is heard or seen, it will be taken. If you talk about having your phone on you, then we will ask you to hand it over as well. Why are we doing that? It's not because we're trying to make your lives harder or to cause conflict. What we want to do is to remove the distraction of mobile phones for the school day, just between 8:45 and 3:20. That's a really short period of time in the course of a week. And actually, we know that at school, mobile phones cause real disruption and distraction. If you've got a phone in a pocket or bag and you can feel it, you can feel people texting you or whatever, then you look at it, it's distracting you from your learning and it's distracting others. We also know that all the research suggests that during lockdown, many young people have become addicted to their smartphones. And actually, that's a really dangerous habit. So whilst you're at school, we want you to have a digital detox. We want to focus on supporting your mental health and getting rid of the distraction of mobile phones and headphones as well. The late detentions. If you arrive after 8:45, remember 8:45 is the cutoff point now for all year groups as we go back towards a more usual school day. And why do we care about lateness? Well, number one, it prepares you for life. When you've got jobs, you will have to get there on time. When you are going to other places, whether it's on holiday, etc., you can't afford to rock up 10 minutes late for your flight. You have to be on time, and that's a discipline. It's a skill for life that will stay with you. But it also makes it fair for all. It would be really unfair if some students got here for 8:45 and others turned up at 9 o'clock and everyone was okay with that. That would be unfair. So again, it's about fairness and equality. So if you do arrive after 8:45, you will line up, the names will get taken, and you will have a break time detention for 10 minutes on the same day, and parents get informed as well. So make sure you're on school on time every day for 8:45. And of course, not missing lessons. If anyone is truanting a lesson, there'll be a next day detention. And again, it's not because we want to issue detentions and create any negativity. It's because we need to keep you safe. We need to know where you are. If you're meant to be in a class and you're not, and the fire alarm goes off, we don't know where you are. That is unsafe. But also, if you're not in your lessons, you're falling behind. You're falling behind on your work, and you're going to find it harder to get back into those lessons in the future at all. So uniform, mobile phones, late detentions, no missing lessons, all of these are key routines and expectations that we are re-establishing as we now move into the next part of our return to school from lockdown. There are some other key reminders. Year 9 now join Year 10 on second lunch. Break time is back for all students in the morning after period 2. 31 extracurricular clubs are back. You'll be delighted to know the slush machine is back in the pods in the playground. Some of you have been asking me for that all year. And there is a slush machine now back in the pods in the playground, particularly good for the hot days and the hot weather we're having at the moment. We will have sports days this half term as well. I've promised that, and we will get those up and running again this half term. We will start also to have some physical assemblies returning, not at lunchtime, but in your 21C session on the other side of lunch. And I just wanted quickly to talk about blazers, because some of you have asked me in the last day or so about blazers in the summer term, particularly when the weather is really hot. We want all students to have their blazers on them unless they're in PE kit when they're in school. However, you can have it in your bag when the weather is warm, but you do need it on you. If you were to go into an assembly, for example, you'd need to put your blazers on, and whoever's leading the assembly can decide whether they will let you take them off once you're sitting down. But in those formal bits around the school, we do need you to have your blazers. So your blazers must at least be in your bags in the hot weather, and on the gate in the morning, we'll be asking you to wear them as you come through the gate and checking that you have your blazers. The exception, of course, is if you've got your PE kit on a day that you have PE. I'm going to go back to the picture that I started with today, the plants, because I've talked to you about re-establishing the conditions that we need for every student to thrive in our school as we move on, hopefully, from COVID-19 and lockdowns. Plants also need the right conditions. Plants can be healthy, like the one on the left, or unhealthy, like the one on the right. If you don't give plants enough water, if you don't give them enough light, if they're in the wrong type of soil, or if you give them too much water or too much light, they can fail. They can become unhealthy. And those conditions are crucial. And it's the same for schools. You need the conditions to be right. You need the right level of expectations. You need the right level of student freedom. You need the right blend of your curriculum, what we teach to students and what we offer in terms of subjects. All of those things have to be the right conditions so that every student can thrive within our school. And some of those things that we've talked about today, mobile phones and headphones, and lateness to school, all of those expectations you'd find in almost any school around the country. We're just re-establishing them now as we go forward for our next part of our school improvement plan. So the conditions, just like for plants, have to be right if you're going to grow, if you're going to develop, if you're going to make progress within our school. Folks, we're going to leave it there today. I'm just going to leave the slide back on this one. Just those key reminders around uniform, around mobile phones, around lateness to school, and around no missing lessons. We commit to those, and we will continue to make great strides forward as a school this half term. This will be a really busy half term, but it is one of the most enjoyable half terms of the year, as well as we build towards the summer holidays and finish this academic year on a high. So thank you very much for listening. As always, look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, everyone. See you soon.